international break, which saw the Philippines take an away win against Maldives. We're back for match number 41 of the PFL this Saturday, November 22, 2025. It is our round one matchup. As usual, our Saturday includes 3 matches, the first of which is going to start at 3 p.m. exactly. It's Don Bosco Garelli United against Stallion Laguna FC. I'm going to be your commentator for the first one, Diego Cordero, and alongside me is Natasha Alquiros Dato for the expert analysis. Natasha, how are you doing this weekend?
Definitely a great week of football, a great month, in fact. So much football happening all around, whether it's the Philippines playing in the World Cup, the women's team of Stallion Laguna who played in the Champions League, and now back with the PFL for our first game of the triple header, Don Bosco Garelli United taking on Stallion Laguna FC.
It is a matchup which has happened before. It happened once in the 2024 transition year. Stallion Laguna FC won that encounter, I believe, 7-0. And that is the only time that these two teams have met. However, you do say that this matchup is heavily favoring one side. But on Don Bosco Garelli, on the other hand, they only have 1 win this season. They have 3 points, and they are currently 9th out of the 11 teams in the PFL. Their 1 win came against Mendiola, and their other 5 losses have come to complement their season. Natasha, how tough is it for the players of Don Bosco Garelli United to have form such as this and then be up against a team like Stallion Laguna FC?
It's definitely going to be hard for Garelli in this matchup, but not impossible. They really have to have maximum focus all throughout, especially defensively, to stay organized. And in the few moments that they will get to attack, they should be able to capitalize. Of course, you're going against Stallion Laguna FC, who has found great form in their recent fixtures. And after suffering a draw against Aguilas in their last match, you know that they're hungry to get back to their winning ways.
Yes, Stallion will definitely be eager to bounce back on what should have been a win against the Aguilas UMAC FC. They conceded a last-minute equalizer to the opposition goalkeeper, the first time that's happened in the PFL. So Stallion are currently on 11 points this season, but they actually sit at 7th, which means they're currently outside of the championship group. I'm assuming, though, if you are Stallion, it's a bit early in the season to panic too much yet, is it, Natasha?
That's right. As we always mention, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We're only in that first round. They also have kept close scores against teams like Digger, Cebu, Kaya. It's usually 1-1 or losing just by a point. The margins are very thin still, and a win today could boost them up on top of the standings as well.
And before we move on even further, let's take it to the coaching staff of Don Bosco Garelli United.
Because we just came back from break, 3 weeks without playing football match. So during the 3 weeks we didn't rest. We trained and we learned from our past game, especially our game with Kaya, because we give our defense was a little bit compact, but they are still able to penetrate our defenses. So we make sure this week we try to contain the spaces and also to connect from our backline, midfield, and then strikers, and possibly get scores. So we expected to perform that thing, and from expectation from Stallion, we expect it's a really good game with physical, and because we also have high respect with Stallions. They've been here for a long time, so we really expect it will be a great game.
There you have it from the Don Bosco Garelli United coaching staff. They did mention that they want to keep it defensively tight. And Natasha, I believe you called their last game against Kaya where they conceded 7. They did score 1, a consolation goal. What did you make out of that Don Bosco for performance?
As you said, there were moments that they could stay organized, but not long enough margins, and eventually Kaya were able to penetrate through against Garelli. As the coach did mention, Garelli are very new to the PFL as compared to Stallion Laguna, one of the first teams that have made up the PFL, and so it's a David and Goliath matchup between these two teams. And Garelli definitely have to keep things neat and tidy if they want to take on Stallion Laguna. But of course, the positive for Don Bosco Garelli, getting that goal against Kaya. Kaya have not conceded much this season yet. That was only the second goal that they conceded, and it was against Garelli. So you know that they are capable of being able to score goals, especially through set piece opportunities.
Moving on to the other side of Stallion Laguna FC, as you did mention, Natasha, they've kept it close on their games against the big teams. They've taken care of the other teams that they are expected to beat. And I actually checked in the transfer mark table that if you would look at Stallion's season but not include goals conceded after 90 minutes, they'd be third. And they'd be much higher up in the season because you recall the last minute loss to Cebu with Rico Andes scoring in the die moments. And then the same happened against Aguilas. And then in against Kaya, they also conceded in the latter half of the second half. And I believe also against Manila Digger, it was the last minute equalizer that also spoiled the 3 points for Stallion. So they could have been much higher up at this point in the season. But it's still early on, of course. And for now, let's take it to the coaching staff of Stallion Laguna FC.
Yeah, we're excited for the match today. We're hoping to come out real aggressive, try to play a pretty high line, try to get in there, try to get some goals today. We're expecting Garelli. They're a great team, but we're a good man.
There you have it. That was Coach Clint McDaniel of the Stallion coaching staff. Short but simple. He wants his team to have a good game today. And it's going to be a crucial point of the season because after this game, they're actually going to go up against Maharlika and Wantigig. So they want to get good form going into the end of the first round of the PFL.
This is also an opportunity for them to rotate their squad, make sure that the players on the bench get that playing time as well. And of course, just to strengthen themselves, not only on the attack defensively, but the confidence for the whole team.
We did mention it off air, Natasha. Stallion Laguna. We also want to give a shout out to their women's team also, who are, I believe they're back now, as I see a few members actually in the stands. But they recently competed rather, in the AFC Champions League, the women's edition of that rather, and they got one win against the Lion City Sailors. I think it was a 5-0 win, and that was their final match day. So congratulations to them for also making their campaign in the international stage. I believe it's also the first win of any women's club in that level. So it's nice to see that Stallion are a club that's actually going on all fronts in terms of their men's football and women's football.
That's right. So the likes of Stallion and Kaya both have really good programs, not only for men's and women's football. And we hope that the other clubs follow that same path as well. But for right now, for this matchup of Stallion Laguna, when you take a look at their attacking threat, so much ways where they can be able to take advantage and score.
moments away from kickoff as we see the two team captains along with our match officials for this afternoon. Again, it is our first PFL weekend back after 2 weeks, and for Don Bosco Garelli, it's their first game in 3 weeks, while Stallion are coming off that draw against Aguilas Yumac FC 2 weeks ago. And always a bit strange whenever there's an international football break, as you'd know as a player, Natasha, that it can disrupt rhythm, but at the same time it can give teams a little bit of respite.
That's right. It depends how they maximize that time off to let some players rest, to refresh, and of course, for those teams that are in good momentum, how do they continue on again in that form? But for teams like Garelli, how do they bounce back? And this is definitely going to be a test. They've had a couple of games already, only one win so far, but they do have players capable of helping them up on top. The likes of Mbida, who's already scored 2 goals, and Yamaguchi with a goal to his name. Both players will be in the starting lineup for today.
And Yamaguchi, in fact, is actually the player from Don Bosco Garelli United who has the most playing minutes this season. So he has 450 minutes on the pitch, and that's the first place among their entire squad. So he's going to definitely be one of the players they turn to this afternoon. For Stallion, on the other hand, the usual suspects are starting. You see the likes of Stefan Schrock, Finn McDaniel, and Michael Kedman. And Michael Kedman, the latter that I mentioned, is actually the player, like Yamaguchi, who has the most minutes for Stallion. He has 430. So it's going to be an interesting composition for both teams, and let's see how they can tackle this first game back from the international break. As we see kickoff fast approaching, it will be Don Bosco Garelli United in their black and orange jerseys, and it will be Stallion in their pink shirts and white shorts and socks, kicking from right to left. I think the referee just waiting for the 3 p.m. mark, as we know that we like to start games exactly on time. And there we go, Stefan Schrock on the ball. Here's Kedman going for the early cross to Galiana. Eventually worked clear by Don Bosco Garelli, but that was a good opening moment or so from Kedman.
You can see the intent quickly from Stallion Laguna. They want to initiate that high press, get things going right from the get-go.
Looking for Galiana again. This time he might get on the end of it. In the end, it's headed clear by Inday. It's back with Stallion right away though.
It's also good to see Schrock back at that creative center mid role for the side of Stallion. He did play an important part of the game when they did go against Aguilas. As you all remembered, in that first game, he did get a suspension, was out for a couple of games.
Here's Michael Kedman early on. Still Kedman looking for the angle to take the shot. It's going to be a corner kick early on for Stallion Laguna FC. 2 good involvements already for Michael Kedman Jr.
And an attacking threat of Kedman, McDaniel, and Galiano on that right. You can tell that that's their preferred starting lineup. Kedman so good in 1v1s. Galiana so good at giving the assists, giving those attacking balls forward.
It's going to be an in-swinger from Finn McDaniel. Has a lot of tall targets in the box. This one slightly too deep, and it's going to go out for another corner kick. Height advantage clearly with Stallion on this one, Natasha.
That's right, especially with Smith there. You could tell he really is one head above a lot of the players on the pitch.
Definitely.
He will be marked closely.
Ball comes in from Trujillo, but referee actually saying that he went out for a goal kick. And as you did mention, it was Smith who was the target from that cross, which did go out, but nonetheless is an indicator probably of what's to come for the rest of the set pieces from Stallion.
And for Garelli in this matchup, only 2 changes from the last time that they did play. Riaso will be the goalkeeper of choice over Ishii, and Babacar over Traore.
Chance maybe for Don Bosco Garelli. It's cleaned up in the end by Ken Pride, and Stallion will try to start an attack. But as you did mention, goalkeeper change for Don Bosco Garelli, and also goalkeeping change for Stallion. So both of these teams opting to switch out their #1 goalkeepers. give a chance to the opposite goalkeeper on the bench usually.
That's right. For Stallion Laguna, they did make 4 changes to this lineup. Faria, Smith, Vasquez, and Mata Shamrad all getting the start for today.
Stallion with the early possession, as you'd expect. Here is Matt Nieras on the end of things from right back. Usually not where we usually see him. Usually plays as left back, even though he is right-footed, the captain of Stallion. Galiana looking for the cross. McDaniel nearly on the end of it. It goes through, and Kedman will pick it up. Vasquez. That's Rod Vasquez, because there are 2 on the pitch at the moment. He might get on the end of this move from Schrock, but it goes out for a goal kick. They're going down this left-hand side a lot of the time for the opening 3 minutes.
Gotta love the involvement of the wing backs as well for Stallion Laguna, helping out on the attack, whether it's on the left side for Vasquez or on the right with Nieras.
It's going to be problematic for opponents that don't only have to deal with the front line of Stallion, but also their attacking fullbacks. As Natasha mentioned, here's Galiana nearly on the end of things, cleared by Ariola for a throw-in for Stallion. But a lot of good pressure from Stallion. Farias. Nieras to Galiana. Cuts inside. Looking for Schrock, but pass didn't meet its target. Here's Rod Vasquez, goes for the long shot. Saved. Might it be spilled? And it's gathered once again by Riaso. Good moment though nonetheless from Rod Vasquez from distance.
Stallion Laguna just attacking on all cylinders, taking their chances as well. Backline midfielders know that they have that range to take the shot, to test Riaso. Riaso on the first chance makes a save, quickly gets back up to collect it second time around.
Bosco Garelli just happy to allow Stallion to settle on the ball. Here's Kedman. Will he keep this in? He does with his pace. Looking for McDaniel. The cross eventually meets McDaniel before it's gathered by Broby. Oh, missed clearance though. The snapshot from McDaniel goes wide. Don Bosco Garelli playing with fire a little bit in these opening 5 minutes.
Not just that, the players in the midfield being able to find the runs of Kedman, who has the speed down that left flank to meet it and give a ball back just outside the box, causing a lot of troubles for the backline of Garelli.
Michael Kedman is a player who spent his academy days in Premier League level clubs. He spent time at West Ham and Chelsea's academy before eventually going around the world with his professional journey, and he's now with Stallion. And you got to give it to Stallion for their scouting networks, because they do come up with these impressive signings. But here's a chance maybe for Don Bosco Garelli, and it goes just wide. But what a chance that was to take the shock lead. That was Yamaguchi.
Yamaguchi definitely a dangerous player on the ball. Quick moment, a quick counter attack. Could have spelled trouble for Stallion Laguna.
And another mistake gives it back. Here's Yamaguchi once again. Pass just slightly in front of his teammate Broby. But it's been Stallion dominance so far until that point, where all of a sudden it was Yamaguchi through on goal. Galiana, will he get to this? Goalkeeper Riaso doing some good sweeping keeping. End-to-end action for the past minute or so.
That's right. One of the things, Stallion sending so many players up on top. They can get caught on those quick transitions.
Oh, and it's McDaniel who is not gonna miss from that sort of range. And it's another assist to Galiana. That's now his 9th of the season, and Finn McDaniel gets his 10th goal of the season. That actually makes him the top scorer in the PFL outright since 2017's reintroduction of the PFL. And it's 1-0 to Stallion Laguna FC.
Stallion Laguna getting the goal very early in this matchup. 7 minutes in, no surprise who gives the assist, no surprise who scores the goal, as you've mentioned. both these players putting themselves really at the top of the goal scoring list and the assist list for this season.
Finn McDaniel making a really strong campaign for the Golden Boot. I'm sure it's in the back of his head somewhere, but it's now 1-0. And Don Bosco Garelli, after having a really good chance, go behind. Here's McDaniel again, Schrock. With time and space, goes for the left-footed cross, nearly meets McDaniel. In the end, it's going to be cleared by Don Bosco Garelli. But in these last few moments, Don Bosco Garelli have to be really careful not to concede yet another, because that would just stun them going for the rest of the first half.
Stallion Laguna so agile, their movement so quick. Garelli having a hard time to keep up.
Great footwork from Kedman. And that's the type of player Kedman is. I read somewhere, I think from PFL Bible, shout out to him, that he grew up playing a lot of street football, five-a-side football in England, and so, you know, that type of development, it makes you insanely good at footwork. And every time he plays a match, there's always 1 or 2 moments where he's just in a really tight pocket of space and he just escapes with his footwork.
And that's right. When you have those attacking threat, especially with your wingers, you want them to have the confidence and the capability to take on players 1v1. And that's definitely something that he brings on for the side of Stallion Laguna when it comes to the attack.
Stallion going with the offside trap, and it's called offside. So that was a good shift and tactical pattern there from the backline. You just saw that they all took one step up before the pass was played, and it's called offside in favor of Stallion. Those things are coached, of course, they're not accidental. Schrock goes to Kedman. Again, Kedman, the outlet of this team at the moment. And he's going to win a corner kick despite that robust challenge from Bangi.
You can tell the challenge was a bit heavy, but he did get the ball first. It's going to be another corner for the side of Stallion Laguna.
Terrence Smith is going to make his way forward from center back. Obviously, the target for Galiana with the in-swinger. It's caught by Riaso, bounced for a moment, but he gathered it once again. High pressure from Stallion pays off though. Here's McDaniel onside. I think for a moment he actually thought he was offside, but the referee didn't raise his flag. Chance maybe for Don Bosco Garelli. In behind once again. It's not the first time this has happened. Cut back. And the shot straight at Smith. Second shot is over. But Don Bosco Garelli again showing that maybe on the transition, that's their best outlet for this match.
You can see so far, it's not just a one-sided affair, as you've mentioned. Garelli have had a couple of opportunities already on the attack as well, but Stallion have just been more clinical.
Here's Kedman combining with Finn. Crosses in. And it's eventually dealt with. And it's just a bit end-to-end at the moment. Both teams going with an attacking philosophy. Obviously, Don Bosco Garelli, the more conservative of the two. But when they do get the ball, they do try to launch the transitions. And with the team playing on offside trap, you do definitely say, if you time your runs correctly, you can get in behind. Here's Schrock, Kedman, Farias, onto Nieras. Galiana is going to go for the early cross, looking for Finn McDaniel. It's met by the goalkeeper, but not convincingly, and it's eventually cleared.
Owusu eventually gets that second ball, clears that one out of danger. The movement of Stallion Laguna up on top.
Schrock goes for the early cross towards no one, so that's going to go straight to Riaso. Ulen, oh, he's still going. Has a pass on. Don Bosco are in for another transition. Smith having to do defending. Shot eventually comes in, but it's straight at Ken Pride. But that's another moment where Don Bosco Garelli, they just show that when they launch counterattacks, there are openings here and then.
But also tell by their style of play, opting to go direct. As you've mentioned, they want to quickly transition from defense onto attack, as compared to Stallion able to keep possession.
Schrock to Vasquez. Denzel Vasquez. Here's Rod looking for Kedman. Offside will be called though. That was a good backline positioning from Don Bosco Garelli.
So far, Stallion Laguna looking really fluid when it comes to their possession, how they bring the ball up, connecting it piece by piece.
Of course, you just have to be super careful if you're Don Bosco Garelli, because it's not only the front line, as I said earlier, of Stallion that you have to worry about, but Schrock is in midfield. And the two fullbacks really fond of getting forward. Here is Schrock. Galiana inside looking for Kedman. Offside is going to be called, but that was a good combination from the front line once again of Stallion Laguna FC.
But better work defensively as well from Garelli.
And Don Bosco Garelli United, you start to wonder where their next win is going to come from, because they've only had one this season. Came against Valenzuela, PB Mendiola, but they kept it close against Maharlika. Chance maybe for Yamaguchi once again. Smith eventually poking it back to his goalkeeper. Yamaguchi definitely the player to watch out for if you're the center backs of Stallion Laguna FC. Here's Kedman though, going the other way. He has Galiana in the middle. He's going to try to find him. It's met by the goalkeeper unconvincingly, but it's cleared. Riaso unable to catch that, but he's not punished.
Yeah, so having to do a lot in the first 15 opening minutes of this matchup.
Galiana combining with Schrock, two individuals who, as far as I'm aware, also traveled with the women's team to Vietnam, but get confirmation of that later. Crossing opportunity for Stallion. It's sent in towards McDaniel. Riaso, I believe he got a touch on it, and it will be a corner kick for Stallion Laguna FC.
Yeah, so unable to get a full touch to it. So the attack continues for Stallion Laguna. As you've mentioned earlier, they've looked especially dangerous coming from the left-hand side. But the assist to the goal came from the right. Just goes to show how threatening their attack is on all sides.
Outswinger from Galiana. It's going to be met by Ken Pride, but not goalward. So Don Bosco Garelli are going to work this clear. And if you're Don Bosco Garelli, you have to be careful on these set pieces because the height advantage is with Stallion. Another crossing opportunity. This time, Riaso gets his gloves to it. Don Bosco, though, unable to work their way out. Shrocky keeping the ball. Ken Pride to Farias. Slips on it. And he loses out to Yamaguchi. There's a foul called in there somewhere in favor of Stallion.
But Vasquez has been looking really good in the first opening 17 minutes of this match. Defensively, being able to win back possession, but also how he helps up on the attack.
Here's Schrock. Goes back to Smith. Smith is going to find Vasquez to Galiana. Pass just slightly overhit. He's back with Riaso.
And also, we need to mention that there are two Vasquez playing on the pitch right now for Stallion Laguna. Rod Aaron Vasquez and Denzel Roy Vasquez.
Of course, the PFL, no stranger. And in fact, football in the Philippines, in fact, as a whole, no stranger to sibling pairings on the same team. In fact, Stallion have their own version in the women's team. And it's just a common trend, actually, you see across the whole of Philippine football.
But also for the side of Garelli, also have a Clarino playing there. But this time, three brothers playing for three different clubs in the PFL. One for Aguilas, one for Digger, and one for Garelli.
Of course, and that's also a family that's deeply rooted in Philippine football because they have individuals present also as coaches around the Philippine football scene. Here is Farias. Spent his youth in Brazil before making his way to Stallion. Galiana. Schrock looking for the first time pass to Finn McDaniel, but it's cut out at source. Schrock wins it back though. And he's gonna dribble it inside. Still Schrock. He's gonna win the free kick. That was a really good dribble from Stefan Schrock, and he's gonna buy the game's first yellow card.
And Schrock, of course, a very technically gifted player, able to keep the ball within a close range, dribble his way through defenders. If he doesn't get out, it also attracts a foul, most especially in dangerous areas.
Stefan Schrock showing that for him at least, age is still just a number, because that was a really impressive acceleration to win the free kick, and it's going to be taken by the top scorer, Finn McDaniel, who will be looking for his 11th goal of the season. And he is currently the outright top scorer of this season's PFL and the PFL as a whole since its creation in 2017. Now has 37 goals in the PFL. The second is Harvey Gayoso at 36. Going to be met by Finn McDaniel. He goes far post and it bounces off the post and in. No chance for the goalkeeper, and he's on a brace just 20 minutes into this matchup against Don Bosco Garelli.
That's an absolutely fantastic set piece delivery, executed to perfection. Had the right power, the pace, hitting that left post before it trickled back into the back of the net. Great work from Finn McDaniel to get a brace in this match, and as we mentioned, to continue on the top scorer so far for the PFL.
Finn McDaniel now on to 11 goals this PFL season. He just outsmarted Riaso, the goalkeeper, who perhaps expected that he was going to go the other way, and Finn McDaniel instead going far post. Here's Kedman. Back to Finn McDaniel. Is it a hat trick? It is! First half hat trick. And I believe this now also makes him the current top scorer across all of the leagues in Southeast Asia. And what a game so far for Finn McDaniel. Just 21 minutes in, already a hat trick.
And the crazy thing is, I don't even think that there was a minute difference between his last goal and this goal as well. Top finish as well from Finn McDaniel. And a great connection between Kedman setting up McDaniel. Definitely a striker's finish.
But he cut me off because I was going to talk more about his second goal. Just like that, he already has a third.
Time.
And as we are talking about this, the Don Bosco Garelli coaching staff have sent substitutes to warm up. So they are clearly not happy with the last 5 minutes or so. And it's a shame for them, really, because they did create one or two chances when it was still scoreless. I believe Yamaguchi had that one-on-one when it was still 0-0. So had that gone in, it would have been a completely different game. But at the moment, the game is being grabbed by one name only, and that's Finn McDaniel. Goal at the 8th minute, at the 21st, and at the 22nd.
22 minutes in this match so far. And McDaniel already with a hat trick to his name.
It's Galiana looking for Kedman, but it's cut out. Kedman, of course, got the assist for that third goal of Finn McDaniel. To give him his credit also. And I believe it won't count on his assist, but Stefan Schrock did win that free kick that Finn McDaniel put away for his second.
That's also the importance of Schrock with that center midfielder role. Really being able to give that pass before the assist.
What a pass that was from Stefan Schrock to Rod Vasquez from left back. Defender slips. Rod Vasquez looking for McDaniel, and this time he doesn't find the back of the net. And you would say this might have been an easier chance than his third goal. Could have been his fourth right there. As we were talking about Stefan Schrock, you saw an example of why he is still being trusted by the coaching staff of Stallion. He picked up the ball from midfield and found Rod Vasquez so easily. And here he is again, Stefan Schrock. And still it's blocked. But Stefan Schrock definitely making his mark on this game.
That's right. Definitely a creative outlet. A good pickup from Stallion Laguna last season to really strengthen their squad. I feel that's one of the things that was missing, or that has been missing for that Stallion side.
We were talking about Stefan Schrock's positioning as the number 10 midfielder of Stallion. He just picks up spaces where he's not picked up, like there, and he's eventually swarmed. He's asking for a foul, actually. Nonetheless, smart positioning from Stefan Schrock just to put himself into pockets where there's no one standing. It's really hard to defend if you're his opposition. Just pull in. Referee's gonna stop the game. He's actually gonna stop the game and signal, I believe, a water break, given the conditions, of course. And it's gonna be a chance for Don Bosco Garelli to get a much-needed breather, because for the last 20 minutes or so, they have been tested time and time again. And the last two times they were tested by Finn McDaniel, they did not match his level. And it was a bit of a shame for Don Bosco Garelli, rather, because as I keep mentioning, when it was still 0-0, they did have one or two chances.
That's right. So right before the first goal happened for Stallion Laguna, you could see that Garelli were slowly getting some sense of momentum, being able to connect their defensive work, transition on the attack, and create chances that really did test out the defense of Stallion Laguna. But once McDaniel was able to put that first goal away, it has been Stallion all the way since then.
You do feel that from a scenario in the matchup where they were keeping close and matching the level of their opponents, it's quickly become the message of damage limitation for Don Bosco Garelli, at least for the rest of this first half, because all of a sudden they're now 3-0 behind.
Especially when you have the attacking trio of Kedman, McDaniel, and Galiana up on top. Players who were so well with moving around the pitch, finding the pockets of space inside the box, and able to find the back of the net. It would make it that much harder for Garelli.
Finn McDaniel, of course, also a Philippine passport holder. He has made an appearance already for the Philippines senior team, so I'm sure it's also in his mind that he definitely wants to play himself back into that team. And he's sending messages through this PFL campaign so far. Rod Vasquez is going to just about keep the ball. Loses it eventually. Cross is going to come in for Don Bosco Garelli. Chance for Yamaguchi. What a tackle from Ken Pride.
And that water break has done Garelli good. It's good to see them put on the threat again on the restart.
Ken Pride receiving applauses from the bench because of that last-ditch challenge to maintain the clean sheet so far. Here's Kedman. They'll just about keep this in and win the throw-in. Must say, over 10 to 15 yards, the acceleration of Kedman is quite a sight to behold. Rod Vasquez, Schrock. He's going to look for the early cross. It's going to be met by Riaso. Chance for Don Bosco Garelli to build up, but it's cut out by Farias before it's eventually back with Yamaguchi. They have numbers on this attack. Can they create something to get on the score sheet? Bolen goes for the early cross. It's going to be met by a Stallion player initially, and then the shot came in from Clarino. That's a save in favor of Stallion.
Garelli slowly able to find themselves again on the attacking third and to create chances up on top. It was their first chance on target to really test out the goalkeeper of Stallion Laguna.
Here's McDaniel looking for Galliana. He's gonna reach this nearly, but not quite. Roles switching there. Usually it's Galliana providing for Finn McDaniel. That time it was the other way around. Galliana also, all his assists this season means that, actually I'll get back to that later. Here's Bolen. Still Bolen, he's gonna work the cross. It bounces in front of an empty net. No one to turn it in. And that was another decent opening for Don Bosco Garelli United, but they're unable to make the final touch.
So far, the last few minutes that Garelli have been on the attack, Bolen has been involved on the right-hand side. They're able to find that space to attack from there.
There's going to be an early substitution for Stallion Laguna FC. It's Ricardo Sendra, the Argentinian, being readied. For who, not sure. Will await confirmation. Chance for Garelli once again. Venturing forward ever so slightly. Cross comes in. It's a very high one. And this is going to be easy for the goalkeeper. Easily claimed by Motash Amrad, who's given the start today in favor instead of Jack Landreth, who's also made a good impression so far in this PFL, must be said.
Also a penalty save to his name.
And one of the guaranteed things you always see in the PFL is that there's going to be a lot of good goalkeepers across the league. And definitely that trend is staying true. It's going to be Farias coming off for Ricardo Sendra. Whether it's injury or tactically related, we're not sure, of course, but nonetheless, it means that Ricardo Sendra is going to get minutes for the rest of this match.
As you all know, with Stallion Laguna, they do have a very deep bench, not afraid of making early substitutions.
Owusu, Clarino trying to combine with Yamaguchi. Counter is on for Stallion. Again, if you're Don Bosco Garelli United, you want to be careful that while you're searching for your first goal, you don't leave too much space in behind. Nieras, McDaniel has Galliana with him. Goes for the switch, looking for Kedman. It's not going to be kept in though. Once again, here come Don Bosco Garelli. Schrock though, doing his defensive contributions, which is also commendable given his attacking output. Here's Sendra, first few touches on the ball. It's an obvious foul by Broby on Schrock. Possession just bouncing between the two teams at the moment. No one's settling in for now. Once again, it's Schrock doing the defensive work like he was doing just a few moments ago. Here comes Stallion. Angel Vasquez. Kedman. Rod Vasquez. Shooting opportunity. It goes just over. That was a chance for the fullback to get in on the action. Kedman, unselfish. And the goalkeeper, Riaso, is going to be really grateful that he hasn't had to pick the ball from the back of the net for the 4th time in this match.
That's right. When it comes to Kedman, he's always looking to make that pass. Find that player who's just a bit more open. It was a tight angle for Vasquez to be able to get on goal. Eventually, that one sails over. Stallion very good as well on that transition. Midfielders and the whole team really putting on that high press so they win the ball already in an attacking situation. They have the players up on top, able to quickly spell out a bit of possession before translating it into a chance.
Tackle there came in from, I believe that's Owusu. Rather, it was Indiay. Foul called by the referee. Yamaguchi, there's a player down for Stallion. Referee is gonna allow play to continue before that player eventually back up on his feet. And Bosco Garelli United going forward. Here's Yamaguchi. Bulen. As for the early cross, flicked off Matt Nieras. It's going to be collected by the goalkeeper.
Good pressure from Garelli.
Possession for Don Bosco Garelli. Try to go direct. It's hard, very tight in that midfield. There's a foul call actually in favor of Don Bosco Garelli. That's against Ricky Sendra.
But you also have to feel for Garelli to really up that physicality. They do have the players capable of it. A lot of times they're also just losing out physicality onto Stallion. This time around, do win a chance, but it's very wayward out.
Looks like Olen or Yamaguchi is going to send this one in. Chance maybe. Is this going to go in? Actually, it's a foul on the goalkeeper. Bit of uncertainty there. No offside flag came up. So for a moment, just looked like it was going to bounce in, but referee quickly calling the foul against the goalkeeper, or for the goalkeeper rather. Rod Vasquez. Sendra pass in between the lines to Stefan Schrock. Schrock, ball just got stuck under his feet. He's gonna work hard to win back the ball. Here's Bulen though. And again, good defensive work by Ken Pride.
Two youngsters in the back, Pride and Vasquez.
Oh! And chance maybe here still for Don Bosco Garelli. It's still on. And Ken Pride is eventually going to work this clear, but the goalkeeper, Mata Shamrad, just taking a little bit too long to clear the ball. And that deflection from that near the goal could have gone anywhere. He's lucky that it doesn't bounce to the back of the net. really smart play from Stefan Schrock. Knew he was gonna attract the foul there. It was a foul, but he just got his body in the way of the defender and the ball. Perhaps a foul out of frustration. Oh, what a flick from Michael Kedman. Rod Vasquez, Finn McDaniel, watched closely by NDI. Daniel's gonna be forced backwards to Rod Vasquez, who attempts the roulette, but that's defended well. And it's gonna be a free kick in favor of Don Bosco Garelli United. But what a flick that was from Michael Kedman.
Just that vision and awareness, knowing where his teammates will be, faking out the defender, allowing Vasquez the time and space to be able to bring it down that left-hand side. But also you could see a bit of tactical adjustments as well from the side of Garelli. Now sending more players up on top, putting that pressure on that back line and the goalkeeper of Stallion. In the few instances that they had the numbers up on top, they forced errors at the back for Stallion Laguna.
The likes of the backline of Stallion can't be too casual for the rest of this match, because as we've mentioned, there have been openings for Don Bosco Garelli despite the scoreline, which is heavily one-sided. Here is Kedman to Schrock. The pirouette from Schrock. Again, Schrock, for those of you who don't know, although everyone probably does know at this point, played at a really high level in the German Bundesliga earlier on in his career. He's also part of that core Ceres team that went so far in international competitions. And of course, he has a load of appearances for the Philippines. Actually, my first memory of Stefan Schrock was also in the stadium. I was sitting in the grandstand when he launched a rocket against Kuwait. We did lose that game, but it was a good moment nonetheless. I remember not hearing anything after that.
That's just the quality and class that he brings onto the pitch. Definitely a player with so much knowledge and experience on his side.
You did mention it earlier on, Natasha. Stefan Schrock, definitely a smart acquisition by the coaching staff of Stallion. He's going to want to help them in a PFL championship race. Again, in that race, Stallion Laguna this season, currently on 11 points. They would go 14 if they win today. That would put them as high up as 4th, provisionally, of course, because they're the first team to play this weekend. But they are going to be against tough teams in their next few fixtures, so today is definitely a must-win, just to pick up that momentum. Strange header there, but it does work out in the end. There's Bulen. He's gonna run it out of play. I think that's been the story for most of the first half, but not all of the first half, because Don Bosco Garelli at times did keep up and create chances. Again, despite that though, it's Finn McDaniel with the hat trick. That's the reason why it's 3-0 41 minutes into this matchup.
That's right, especially in that good 15 minutes early on in this game that Stallion were able to quickly capitalize on their chances, give him a comfortable 3-0 lead very early.
Yamaguchi nearly finding a teammate that was in Guy. He was eventually barged off the ball. Just a few minutes left now in this first half. If you're Don Bosco Garelli, you definitely don't want to concede a 4th. It would change the complexion of the halftime team talk here. Schrock looking for Finn McDaniel. It's slightly overhit, and the goalkeeper is gonna collect that, as I hear a scream actually from Finn McDaniel. Definitely wants more goals to add to his tally this afternoon. A bit of dark arts from Ricky Sendra on Bulen. Ricky Sendra, of course, a figure that is familiar to a lot of PFL fans. Played across multiple teams, had stints with Kaya and Cebu as well, even I believe Mendiola at one point. Oh, looking for Yamaguchi. It's too close to the goalkeeper. Oh, and that's a very, very heavy tackle from Mahinay. And the referee, Jesus Abogado, instinctively picked up the yellow card. And there's actually no protest from Mahinay. I think he knew that was a really heavy one on Kedman. Kedman is okay, but exchanging words with Mahinay, perhaps asking why so much force was behind that challenge.
This first half, 2 players already from Garelli have picked up yellow cards, Owusu and Mahinay. Which definitely means they'll have to be more careful with their challenges. It's your center mid and your center back.
Here comes Schrock. For the Trivela cross, it's eventually cleared. Not once but twice by Don Bosco Garelli. There's Ken Pride, Rod Vasquez. Too much traffic for Stallion. Yamaguchi followed really closely, too closely, in fact, by Terrence Smith. And if you're Mahinay in particular, I want to be careful because that was a yellow card. Some might even call it an orange card because it was just bordering a little bit on the dangerous side.
That's why on the attack, or when it comes to cards, you're always like a soft yellow or a hard yellow. Definitely could have been a red as well.
As for McDaniel, once again, Galiana! Open goal. And it's now 4-0 right on the halftime mark. What a pass that was from Stefan Schrock. Turning provider once again. Galiana pointing to Schrock, in fact. And Riaso is going to have to pick the ball out of his net for the 4th time in this half. Just a few moments away from the halftime break. Ideal for Stallion to get their 4th. But really, really frustrating if you're Don Bosco Garelli, because you wanted to get into halftime with damage limitation, not conceding anymore after that Finn McDaniel hat-trick. Nonetheless, though, it's now 4-0 to Stallion Laguna FC.
And that's right. For a good 20 minutes, Garelli were able to hold Stallion Laguna after the dominant 3 goals in the opening exchanges. That was great work all around the pitch for Stallion Laguna. And Schrock, the one initiating the attack once again.
Here is Schrock. Galiana again, that combination once more. Galiana is going to find Stefan Schrock. It's eventually cleared, but Schrock was lining up the shot for that one. Again, if you're Don Bosco Garelli with just 1 minute left, don't want to go into halftime at 5 down. That would just make the scoreline really, really hard to look at from their perspective. Kedman. Still Kedman digs out the cross. Rod Vasquez looks like a fullback change for the end of this first half. Matt Nieras now back to his usual left back. Throw in to Stallion. This might be the last play of the second half, of the first half rather. A little bit excited there.
They've just been deadly all around the park. Kedman, McDaniel, Galiana, and Schrock, most specifically, have been involved in all of the goals created and all the chances created in this first half.
There you have it. The referee, Jesus Abogado, is going to call the halftime whistle. 4-0 in favor of Stallion Laguna FC. A hat-trick from Finn McDaniel to make it 3-0, and then just a few moments ago, Juan Galiana Trujillo making it 4. And it's been a comprehensive display from Stallion, but not a perfect one, I should say, because there were 1 or 2 chances for Don Bosco Garelli. However, conversion rate has been completely in Stallion's favor. That's why it's currently 4-0. Again, stay tuned for the second half. for the second half between Don Bosco Garelli United and Stallion Laguna FC. 4 to the good are Stallion Laguna FC. It was a hat trick initially in the opening 22 minutes from Finn McDaniel before Galiana Trujillo capping things off in the first half in style with a goal in the 45th minute assisted by Stefan Schrock. It's been a really good first half for Stallion, but it hasn't been perfect because there were some openings from Don Bosco Garelli who kicked things off in this second half. Again, I'm your commentator, Diego Cordero, and alongside me is Natasha Alquiros Dato for this match.
Substitution for Don Bosco Garelli United FC. Player number 14, Bakar Ebiadi, replaced by player
Chance maybe for Don Bosco Garelli early on in the second half. It's cut out at source, but there's actually a substitution for Don Bosco Garelli. It's Traore coming on for Indiay.
replaced by player number 9, Johan Embida.
And there's going to be another change actually. It's going to be Indiay off for Embida. Attacking changes for Don Bosco Garelli United. Meanwhile, Stallion Laguna are going to take off Terrence Smith and put on Stephen Banner.
Defensive change for Stallion Laguna and for Garelli. A change in the center back role and a change up on top.
Offside called against Don Bosco Garelli. And for those of you who missed the first half, while the scoreline indicates a certain type of match, Don Bosco Garelli United created one or two really high-quality chances that just troubled Stallion Laguna a little bit, but they weren't able to take any of those chances, which is why the scoreline currently reflects that the way of Stallion Laguna.
And for Stallion Laguna, they've been really fluid on the attack. The interchange of a movement between the attacking players, the understanding of how each one moves has done wonders for how they're able to create chances up on top.
Kedman retrieved that ball before it went out. Here's Schrock. It's going to be cleared eventually by Mahinay. Again, Bosco Garelli just want to contain the likes of Schrock, Kedman, and McDaniel, of course, in the second half because it's more of the first. The scoreline could really become something ugly for Don Bosco Garelli. There's actually an offside flag called. Referee still hasn't seen it. Now he does. I think that was for the initial play rather than this one. Yamaguchi just overcrowded by Sender and Nieras. Schrock. Daniel. Schrock passes overhit to Galiana, but he'll keep it in just about. The Mexican on the ball. He's gonna win a corner kick for Stallion. Their first of the second half. No Terrence Smith to aim at this time though.
Galiana will take the corner from the right-hand side. As you mentioned earlier, he has scored a goal towards the end of that first half.
Chance, it's met by Ricky Sendra and it's still in the box before it's eventually cleared out just about. It pinballed around so many different players. I think the initial chance came from Ricky Sendra's header into the mixer.
There was a scramble just at the edge of that 6-yard box, but eventually Stallion able to get another corner from this. They play it short this time around.
Schrock with the clip ball. It's going to be a header and it's now 5-0 in favor of Stallion Laguna FC, and it's Ken Pride who we were praising for his defensive contributions in the first half. This time it's his offensive output that gets him on the score sheet, and it's now 5-0 just under 50 minutes in this match as we see the quad vision replay presented by Upstream Sports. Another assist for Stefan Schrock.
2 assists to his name in this matchup so far. A well-played short corner for Stallion Laguna. Galiana giving it short to Schrock. Schrock just capable of giving those deliveries, setting up Pride. Made that run inside the box. A flick of his head hitting towards the side netting. And another goal to start out strong for Stallion Laguna.
coaching staff of Don Bosco Garelli United have seen enough in this second half. And there's going to be another substitution. It's going to be Kahan on for, I believe that's Bangi coming off. I did mention Stallion lacked Terrence Smith this time as a target from corner kicks, so they do go short. And it's another solution for corner kicks when you don't have a taller target in the box. Play it short, get the delivery closer in. And it was Ken Pride to capitalize off that delivery from Stefan Schrock. Of course, first-class delivery, as usual.
Garelli making 2 defensive substitutions already. We haven't been really tight with the marking. And Stallion have been able to send it at the back of the net, whether it's from set-piece opportunities, open plays, coming from crosses, or right down the midfield.
Beliana asking a bit too much from Finn McDaniel, who's looking for his 4th goal of this match. 4th goal, that would be his 13th overall this season. Has just under 45 minutes to get that 4th goal. Of course, already on a hat-trick, so making a really strong case. In fact, the strongest case in this match for man of the match. Here's Kedman. Still Kedman. And eventually he commits the foul. Kedman, though, playing with the freedom that you'd expect from a player of his quality.
As you all know, McDaniel, of course, was a late addition to the Stallion lineup. And so though they've already played 7 games, this is their 8th game. He's only played the last 5. So 12 goals in 5 games. It's great returns.
Before this game started, Finn McDaniel was on a goal per game ratio of 2.25. And after this game, that ratio was going to go even higher. I'm going to be completely confident in saying that it's probably the highest in the league at the moment. And he is well and away leading the Golden Boot race. Of course, still a long season ahead of us, so that Golden Boot race would have other contenders as well. I'm sure Saiku Sise, who won it last year from Manila Digger, is going to have something to say about that. But nonetheless, the leader at the moment is Finn McDaniel.
And another statistics as well. So now you're done. Galeana, 9 assists to his name. Top player with the assists made so far this season.
Here is Kedman, fast feet as usual. He's going to win the throw-in. There was actually an advantage played in that play because Galeana was tripped. The referee saw the opening for the advantage. Again, Don Bosco Garelli want to be careful not to concede the free kicks from direct distance because, of course, Finn McDaniel got his 2nd goal from that type of scenario. They don't want a repeat of that. Here is Finn McDaniel nearly latching on the end of that pass from Ricky Sender. And that is the vision that Ricky Sender brings to this team.
Chance for Garelli to attack in numbers.
Here's Clarino. Cutting inside, goes for the shot. It's on target, but that's a routine save for Motash Amrad, who hasn't played all that much this season because he's behind Jack Landreth in the goalkeeping hierarchy, but he's going to want to keep a clean sheet this afternoon. Daniel combining with Schrock, combining with Kedman. This is a good attack for Stallion. McDaniel nearly on the end of it. Flexible defending there from Traore.
It was a crucial touch from Traore. He knew that Finn McDaniel was right behind him. Ends up giving the corner, but better a corner than a goal.
Again, Stallion did something of the last set piece. Bosco Garelli, you're going to have to mark a little bit tighter for this one just to make sure that they don't concede a 6th. It's going to be Galeana with the in-swinger. Sent in is going to be met by Ricky Sender, cleared off the line. And the linesman is not going to raise his flag for the goal, so it's going to stay 5-0. But that was another chance for Stallion Stefan Schrock, making his opinion really clear as to whether or not that should have been a goal.
From our angle, it looked like a goal line save from the defender of Garelli, Tahan.
Centra, Daliana. Daniel on target, but on his weaker left foot, it was a tough chance to take. So it's going to be a straightforward save for Yaso. If you're Don Bosco Garelli, though, you're going to want to continue to limit the space that you're affording Finn McDaniel, because he's already shown on 3 different occasions what he can do with such space. There's Ken Pride, already on the goal scoring list.
Stallion just really sending both their wing backs up as well.
Galiana. Still Galiana. Overran it a little bit. And he's going to lose possession of the ball. Just see when Galiana combines with the likes of Schrock, Kedman, and McDaniel. You can see the chemistry that they have with each other. Flicks and tricks, but they combine well with each other. Referee's going to call offside in favor of Don Bosco Garelli. But at the moment, if there were to be a next goal in this match, it looks like it's only going to come from one side. It's going to go from bad to worse for Don Bosco Garelli because they have a player down on the far side. That's Bolen. And again, they just used the substitution window, so they're going to run out of another one if they're forced to make another change here. Not ideal. Just over 10 minutes into the second half.
That's the quickest sprint that I've seen from a medical team personnel of any team so far in the PFL. So props to the medical person of Don Bosco Garelli.
I was gonna say he made it from the touchline to the other touchline in the space. Maybe just 10 seconds. Really impressive stuff. But it means that Don Bosco Garelli United are gonna have to play with a man less for a minute or so. Ariola is gonna be fouled, but advantage is played. Referee, will he pull it back? He won't, so it's gonna be a throw-in to Don Bosco Garelli United. Bolen is still receiving treatment on the far side, still on the deck. Shot's gonna be taken, it's dipping, but the bounce just killed the momentum of the ball. So it's an easy save for Tash Hamrad.
It was Brabe, one of the center mids of Garelli, took his chance from distance. Not enough to really test out the goalkeeper.
Rod Vasquez to Aaron Vasquez to Schrock. Back to Rod Vasquez. What vision from Stefan Schrock. Cross is going to come in. Galiana unable to release the ball before it's eventually cleared. Bolen is back on the pitch, by the way, as a foul is called in favor of Don Bosco Garelli United. Stefan Schrock continuing to be a problem for the defensive line of Don Bosco Garelli United. Schrock to Kedman, no offside. Kedman forced wide. He's going to go back to Matthew Neras. Stefan Schrock. Daniel takes the shot straight to a defender. Second shot came in straight at Traore. Out for a corner, and Traore is down. The ball just hit his stomach. Might be a little winded after that. And there is going to be more treatment. There's another sprint from the physio of Don Bosco Garelli United. It's rapid, I must say. Traore might be just winded here. He's back on his feet. I'm sure you've been on the end of a few of those, Natasha, where the ball just hits your stomach flat on.
That's right, the PT of Garelli I wish you could see it on the screens. You'd have to watch live to really appreciate it. You could say he's even faster than some of the players.
Wouldn't be surprised if he actually is, in fact. And it just means that for this corner kick, Don Bosco Garelli are going to be a man disadvantaged. Could be a problem defensively. It'll be Galiana with the outswinger. Is going to be met by the goalkeeper, who actually hits a player on his team. Players constantly going down for Don Bosco Garelli. It's not ideal. And it looks like the physio is going to have to make a third sprint into the field, because for the third play consecutively, it's a player down for Don Bosco Garelli United.
But also, we wanted to take this opportunity as well to invite everyone to come on out to Rizal Memorial Stadium. Watch the games live, support the teams. Of course, a triple header every Saturday, and on Sundays we have back-to-back matches as well.
Of course, we have two more matches after this one today. We have at 5:45 p.m. we have Philippine Army FC against Cebu FC, and then the night will close out at 8:30. Kickoff time between two heavyweights is going to be Kaya FC Iloilo against Manila Digger FC. The first place finisher last season and the second place finisher last season going to go head-to-head later tonight. So do not miss that one. And then tomorrow at Sunday at 4 p.m. we have Valenzuela PB Mendiola against Aguilas Yumac FC, and then the weekend will close out with Tuloy FC against Wantigig FC. But not just PFL action, because a lot is going on at the moment. Of course, we have the FIFA Women's Futsal World Cup, which started last night in Ultra Stadium in Pasig. Of course, the Philippines on the end of a tough result, but a proud moment nonetheless to see the Philippines, not for the first time in a World Cup competition. Of course, we made our debut in the FIFA Women's World Cup in 2023. What an occasion that was. But also continue to support the Philippine women's futsal team, because they have another game on Monday, and then I believe on Thursday they'll have another game as well. That will be against Morocco and Argentina consecutively.
So after your PFL weekend on Monday, head on out to the Phil Sports Arena.
Galiana's gonna cross it into Finn McDaniel. Fourth for Finn McDaniel. And it's now 6-0. Trademark celebration from the PFL top scorer. And he made that finish look quite easy. And guess what? It's another assist from Galiana Trujillo. And he's becoming one of the important players in the PFL in general with that assist
But
record
look
of
at
his.
the ball as well from Galiana, that curling ball right behind that defensive line, finds perfectly to Finn McDaniel. He puts it on a silver platter, makes it easy for Finn McDaniel to find the back of the net. So absolute fantastic connection up on top between the two.
Goal for Stallion Laguna.
We'll get the complete tally later on. But you could say that that duo between Galiana and McDaniel definitely has the highest assist-to-goal ratio in the PFL.
Combination which has worked time and time again for Stallion Laguna FC. Don Bosco have a player over here, but the pass not made. And Stallion back in numbers. It's actually Galiana who came back to a fullback position. He's going to win the throw-in as well. So good defensive work also from Galiana. And that's what you like to see from your attacker, that not just going forward, they're also contributing defensively. We're going to see two substitutions also for Stallions. Actually, Galiana's last contribution on the score sheet and the assist tally. Also doing his defensive work, as you see on the replay here. But that's his afternoon finished, and what an afternoon it was. Also going off is going to be, I believe that's Rod Vasquez for Stallion. Oncoming Dorado and Amir.
There's a confirmation. Dorado and Manesh coming in for Vasquez and Galiana Trujillo.
Substitution for Stallion Laguna FC.
Again, 65 minutes into this matchup. For those of you who missed it, of course, 4 goals courtesy of Finn McDaniel. So he's now the top scorer in the PFL with 13. Then a goal apiece for Ken Pride and Galiana Trujillo. Again, so far it's been Diego Cordero calling this one, adjacent to Natasha Alquiros Dato. With just under 30 minutes now for the rest of this match. Here's Kedman, who has also been one of the attacking players, really on good form lately for Stallion. Not on the goal sheet today, but making contributions nonetheless. Durado cutting inside. Chance for a shot, thought about it, doesn't take it in the end. It's going to be cleared by Don Bosco Garelli, who at times in the first half kept it close, but for the rest of the second half, it's been really one-sided for Stallion.
Every time around, that high press from Stallion Laguna definitely paying off. They win the ball back in favorable position, catching Garelli off guard.
A win today, of course, for Stallion Laguna FC would put them as high up as 4th temporarily, because the rest of the weekend's games are still yet to be played. But it would be a good position to be in towards the end of round 1, as there's a foul against Don Bosco Garelli. Stephen Banner winning that free kick. As I was mentioning, Stallion with a win today would put themselves in a good position, and they need the win today because their next 2 games are going to be really tough against Maharlika and Wantigig to close out round 1. There was that challenge, follow through, clipping Stephen Banner. Dorado, nice to see him back after that head injury that he picked up, I believe, against Manila Digger.
Talk about Stallion as well as the depth of their squad. A player like Dorado could easily be a starting player for another club. They have in their pocket, coming off the bench, fresh legs with that caliber.
Usu is going to go up against Dorado, and he's going to try to win a corner. However, the cross is straight to Ricky Sendra. Stallion going to start a counterattack. They have 4-on-3. If they play their cards right, they're through on goal. And here is Finn McDaniel for his 5th, and unlike him, he goes for far post, and it's way off. I think for him at that moment, maybe he had a little bit too much time, because unlike his usual instinctive finishes, perhaps he had too much to think about there. But that could have easily been 7-0. And Don Bosco Garelli have to be really careful if they don't want to concede any more goals.
That was a great contribution as well from the substitution. Manesh able to give that ball to McDaniel, stays on side. So it was also good positioning as well from Riaso, making it that much harder.
Don Bosco Garelli United winning back possession. Can they start a counter in search of a consolation goal? Bida. That's inside. Stallion back in numbers. Don Bosco go out wide. Cross is going to come in eventually and reach Bolen. The volley, however, is a wild one. And that's not going to challenge the goalkeeper, whose clean sheet is still intact with just over 20 minutes left.
And if you're just joining us, of course, this is the first of 3 matches. Stallion Laguna with a comfortable 6-0. 69 minutes in. And another substitution for the side of Don Bosco Garelli. Bullen, who had the cramps early on, now taken off and is replaced by Nico Aranas.
Substitution for Don Bosco Garelli United. Player number 10, Dean
Here's
Flores.
another substitute, Dorado.
Player number 11,
The right.
Nico Aranias.
It's going to be crowded out 2-on-1. Wins the throw-in though. You do say the likelier of the two teams to score the next goal, it still looks like it's going to come from the pink shirts. It's going to be out for a goal kick though. Come Don Bosco. Down the right hand side. Yamaguchi. Sandra and Shrock with their wisdom just winning back the ball though. Here's McDaniel. Still Finn McDaniel. Binding with Amir. Finn McDaniel goes low and driven. I think it took a slight deflection. That's going to be an easy save for Riaso. Throws it to Yamaguchi. And Don Bosco can start a counter-attack.
And let's see if Garelli can take advantage of the fact that Stallions are only 10 players at the moment on the pitch. As the other Vasquez who went out for that run, currently still out of the pitch.
He is off the pitch, receiving some treatment. Of course, when a player is down but off the field, the referee is under no obligation to stop the game, and that is why the game is continuing as it is. I believe ball still in play. It's Stefan Schrock, Kedman, Amir. It's gonna be straight Mahinay. Again, on a yellow card, has to be careful for the rest of this match. Pass looking for a teammate, was cut out by Yamaguchi. Here's Dorado. Dorado to McDaniel. What a turn! Eventually forced wide though. He's gonna work hard to win it back. Daniel really eager to get another goal despite his already huge tally this season. At near us, Ricky Sendra and Stefan Schrock, two midfielders slash attackers we've seen so many years of from the PFL. Schrock, McDaniel trying that turn again. He was actually stepped on by his defender. Aranias just falling over the ball. Dorado goes around his defender. Works the cross, a bit too weak for Finn McDaniel. And it's back with Don Bosco. Bida. Switch is on for Aranias. Uses the switch. Don Bosco Garelli still have some time to get a consolation. However, if they're going to continue to surrender possession, it's going to be Stallion with the most likely next big chance. Here's Amir. Kedman. Dorado. Schrock. Slow and intricate from Stallion. Schrock looking for Amir. Eventually cleared. One-way traffic at the moment though.
And once Garelli able to clear that out of immediate danger, again falling back to Stallion Laguna to restart the attack.
Dorado. Shooting opportunity. However, the shot eventually blocked by Don Bosco. Yamaguchi to Aranias. Once again, good defensive work from Ken Pride, who also has the bonus of a goal today. And while Finn McDaniel did score 4 goals, a lot of players on this Stallion team probably have a good shout for man of the match.
That's right. Pride doing a lot in the back as well, keeping things nice and tidy. Being able to get to the end of it, winning back the ball for Stallion Laguna, not allowing the attack to continue for Garelli. It's been great showing so far for Stallion Laguna on both defensive and attacking end.
The defensive play from Stephen Banner came on as a second half substitute. Kisender is going to lose the ball. Chance maybe for Don Bosco to create something. This is Robbie. Has to go backwards though. Arañas goes for the cross, overhit. And Nieras is going to easily head that to Ricky Sendra, and Stallion are in a good position here just to start an attack slowly. Here's Amir. Hedman drifting infield. Uses Dorado. Dorado's going to go for the cross. Cross a bit too close to the defender. That's going to signal a throw-in and a substitution for Stallion. It's going to be the end of the afternoon of Kedman, and in comes Ivanovsky, who is another player that, despite the fact he's on the bench, he's going to be a player to watch out for the defenders of Don Bosco Garelli United. And it's such a privilege to have a player like Ivanovsky on the bench.
For Stallion Laguna, though they have changed the players that supply the attack to McDaniel, there hasn't been a drop in quality. Now it's Dorado on that right, Ivanovsky on that left. And even though we're towards the last 15-minute stretch of this game, I feel that it's still going to be on that attacking continuity for the side of Stallion Laguna, who are hungry to really just keep adding on to their tally.
Amidst all that, there's a substitution for Don Bosco Garelli United. It's Charia Gomez coming on for Michael Broby. There's Ivanovsky though in the penalty box. Nifty footwork from the Argentinian. Dorado now at the left. Looks like Ivanovsky will go down the middle. And that's going to be a foul. Won by Dorado in a dangerous position. Maybe a shooting position if you're Stallion.
And we also know early in this game, Finn McDaniel has scored from a set piece opportunity from a similar distance. And let's see if he can add on another one before the end of this matchup.
Riaso is going to have to organize his wall here to make sure lightning doesn't strike twice. It's going to be Finn McDaniel. Can he score yet again? It's going to be straight into the crowd of defenders and cleared out by Don Bosco Garelli United. So Finn McDaniel still has to wait for his next goal, if it is to come in this match.
You can see that switch now, Dorado playing on that left-hand side.
Definitely a privilege for the coaching staff of Stallion that not only do you have a deep bench, but you also have players that can play in multiple positions, and it's definitely a weapon to have in football in general. I think you've also played multiple positions, Natasha.
That's right. So when you have those players, very versatile players, makes it easier to make the adjustments, especially if you want to have that many attacking players on the pitch.
It's not only in attack. You also saw the likes of Matthew Nieras switching sides at fullback. Same from Rod Vasquez. So it just gives you a little bit more ammo to go into games, especially big games, where you're trying to play that chess match with the opposition coach, guessing each other's starting setup.
Nowadays, it's also not more about your position, but understanding the roles that you play on the pitch. Being able to adjust to the players that you have.
Yamaguchi is going to send this one in. It's a chance for Don Bosco. The header Slightly overhit though, and that chance goes begging. So Don Bosco Garelli United still scoreless in this match. Again, they did score that consolation against Kaya, so it's proof that they can score against quote-unquote better opposition. So you don't definitely don't count them out scoring a goal in this match. However, at this point of the game, it looks like all 3 points will only be going one way. Ricky Sendra combining Amir, who's gonna buy the foul. Will this be a yellow card? That's what Ricky Sender's asking for.
If I'm not mistaken, if that is Owusu, he's already on a yellow card. So picking up another one would not do Garelli any good. He just gets off with a stern warning.
Referee Jesus Abogado is gonna be lenient with Owusu, but you can definitely understand the frustrations of Stallion. It's gonna be Stefan Schrock to take this free kick. Delivery is curled in. First contact made by Don Bosco Garelli United, but in fact, offside was the call. Frustration from Traore. It's been a frustrating afternoon in general for the Black Shirts.
On that pace of Amir, come off the bench, really make sure that the energy is still high in this matchup, though we're towards the end of the game as well.
If you're Don Bosco Garelli United, it's not a kind run of games, because after this game, you have to go up against One Taguig. That's not ideal after already facing the likes of Stallion, Kaya, and Maharlika. Cross is sent in. It's gonna go in from Amir. The goalkeeper is judging the flight of the ball, and the substitute Amir is gonna get the cameo goal. Whether or not he meant it, he won't care because he's on the score sheet.
And unfortunate for Garelli, goalkeeper just completely mistimed that, misjudged that height of the ball and where it was going. But credit to where effort is due. And Amir has been such a good addition in this second half. Keeper comes out thinking that it was going for a cross, trying to read it. Misjudged, and another goal for Stallion Laguna.
You could see the frustrations of Riaso after that ball flew in. I think he knew that he just misjudged the trajectory of that ball. Little chance maybe for Embida. One-on-one against Kent Pride. Embida is going to switch to play. The shot though from Clarino is mishit. At the moment, clean sheet intact. Still intact for Stallion.
So far, 7 goals scored for Stallion Laguna, 4 different goal scorers, 4 for McDaniel, goal for Galiana, Pride, and Amir. It's been a dominant display on the attacking end for Stallion Laguna. And they have been able to translate high press into goals, set piece opportunities, finding the back of the net.
Again, for the PFL teams, there's another incentive as well for the rest of November. It will be the last 2 match weeks. So the extra incentive I'm talking about is, of course, as a football team, you're going to want to end 2025 on a high. Here's McDaniel! What a finish! Lethal to make it 8-0.
He also gets the 5th goal in this matchup to his name. Absolutely fantastic finish from Finn McDaniel. And what a ball. Down the midfield. Slots it in. Side left netting. Rocket of a shot.
Goal for Stallion Laguna FC.
goalkeeper there, Yaso. While he may have been at fault for the last goal, I doubt there was much he could have done about this one. Because you could just see the moment it left Finn McDaniel's boot, it barely spun. That's how you know it was a clean strike. Hit it with the laces, head over the ball. And it's now 8-0 in favor of Stallion. And they're gonna, as I was talking about, ending the year strong. They're in a good position towards doing that. Mbida. Can Don Bosco generate a consolation goal? That shot's on target, but easily saved by Mota Shamrad, whose clean sheet is still intact, and he's 5 minutes away.
And you knew that when Stallion were going to play this matchup today, that they came in with a vengeance. They were very hungry to score those goals. They felt like they were robbed of a game in their last outing. And now wanting to get on that scoring end, gain momentum, confidence, coming into their harder fixtures in the next two matchups.
Definitely finding form at the right time. And don't go anywhere rather, ladies and gentlemen, because later today we have two more matches. That's going to be Army versus Cebu, and then Kaya versus Manila Digger for the rest of today. Then for the rest of the weekend, it's Valenzuela, PB Mendiola, and Aguilas UMAC FC, and Tuloy versus Wantegig. But even after that, don't go anywhere once more, because we also have, of course, FIFA Futsal Women's World Cup. Catch all the games in Ultra in Pasig. Of course, the Philippines is playing on Monday. Do expect to see a lot of familiar faces in that match. Will personally be there myself, because of course the ticketing system is also nice, because once you get a ticket, I guess you get to stay for the whole night, so you can catch a lot of games. Chance maybe for Finn McDaniel. Can he get another one? That's a good challenge by Traore to deny Finn McDaniel of another goal scoring opportunity.
And not just that, we continue on how much football has been happening and will continue to happen. After Monday's game, Wednesday, meron na naman ulit tayo yung Minsan Football Show. And then towards Thursday or Friday, there's another game as well for the women's national futsal team. And then going back to that back-to-back weekend of football action here at the PFL. So continue to come out and support the continuous growth of Philippine football and futsal.
Of course, the Futsal World Cup does run all the way till December 7. So a lot of action to catch right here in Pasig, Manila. Then we are also going to have, I believe, on December 3 or December 2, I'll confirm that later, Cebu are going to play here in Rizal Memorial Stadium against Selangor in the Shopee Cup. And then, of course, in December, we also have the SEA Games, where our men's and women's team compete in Thailand. So, in your Christmas season, a lot of gifts for the football fans to enjoy.
That's right. It's going to be a busy November, busy December for Philippine football.
Just 2 minutes away now from the end of regulation time, plus however many minutes are added on for stoppage time. It's going to be Stallion really happy with this performance, and they wanted to get that chip off their shoulder because they felt that they were unjustified with that draw against Aguilas. Mood will lighten up after this result. Then they need to get going once again, because it's like Maharlika and Wantegig after this match. And that is a really tough run to end round one. You do definitely want to end round one in the top 6, just to make sure that you're in a good position to start round 2. Offside is going to be called against Mbida, and that was a big chance actually for Don Bosco Garelli United, because a better timed run would have made Mbida in one-on-one against the goalkeeper, whose clean sheet is still intact going into the end of this match.
So far, any attack so far coming in from Garelli just hasn't been very polished. Stallion able to just swing that ball from left to right.
Seconds away now from finding out how many minutes are going to be added on by the fourth official. It's going to be 2 minutes added on. Of course, not much stoppages in this match, so that does make sense. Here's Dorado. 2 minutes left for Stallion to get another. They get a corner, so it's going to be a chance. Perhaps a last attack to get a ninth for Stallion. And a lot of contenders for man of the match, but there is one clear front runner. He has stayed on the pitch as well, so he is definitely eligible to get that award. Here's Ivanovsky though with the corner. Ivanovsky sends it in, punched by the goalkeeper, still in the box. Eventually, Steven Banner unable to get it on target. Wins it back though, clips the cross in. Ivanovsky's gonna get to it. Rather, Clarino gets to it before him. Ivanovsky back in with the cross, looking for his compatriot in Sendra. It's gonna be met by Steven Banner, and it's, as you'd say, a defender's finish.
Stallion Laguna able to create chances from corner opportunities and keeping the ball for long spells of time in the attacking third. It's been a frustrating matchup for Garelli. Just couldn't find their form or momentum in this matchup, which is due credit as well to the high press of Stallion Laguna. They really made it that much harder for Garelli to really find their form in this matchup. They did find it for very short spells at a time. They haven't been sharp with any chances that they did create, especially early on in this game.
Stallion Laguna FC gonna go fourth with this 3 points. 8 goals, 5 of them courtesy of Finn McDaniel. 1 apiece for Galiana, Ken Pride, and Amir, and that is the story of this match. An impressive performance and comprehensive from the Stallion-based squad.
That's right. They were able to prove how good they are on the attack. Kedman, McDaniel, Galiana, and Schrock. A lot of plays and possessions. Creative chances coming in from the left, right, and down the middle. Scored 4 goals in that first half, and in the second half, just as impressive, despite the change of personnel on the pitch, putting on Dorado, Ivanovsky, Amir, Sendra, and regardless, still able to get 4 goals again in the second half. Clear-cut performance for Stallion Laguna.
Again, we encourage you to visit the official Facebook.
8-0. A fair reflection of how this game has been played.
We are PFL.
Of course, don't go anywhere because this is only the first out of 3 matches today. Our next match will be at 5:45 p.m. That's going to be Philippine Army FC going up against Cebu FC. And then, of course, later tonight, after that match, at 8:30, we have the big one. We have Kaya FC, Iloilo up against Manila Digger FC. Again, this has been your commentators, Diego Cardero and Natasha Alquiros Dato. Don't go anywhere.
my first question is, what are your thoughts on the game? Sorry, no? Again, I repeat the question is, congratulations on the result of the game. So, what are your thoughts on the game?
I thought the team had a really good, strong performance today. Came out pressing as hard as we could, 3-0. Kind of slowed down, but once we got our mojo back, we show again, in my opinion, why we're still a contender in every game we play in.
What are your message to your fans?
Thank you for always supporting. Thank you for always giving me a chance to score goals, whether it's a big or small game. My job is to score, and I like to think that if I'm scoring goals, I'm doing something right, and if someone's questioning it, then they're doing something wrong.
Thank you so much.